watching explosions, watching death and destruction in Afghanistan is heartbreaking. Women and girls will once again be subjected to a brutal Taliban regime. There's no rule of law, no respect for rights. It's a travesty.
Conservative leader Aaron O'Toole cautious as he condemns Canada's pullout from Afghanistan. But the Tory leader refused to explain what he would have done differently or how he'd handle the situation as Prime Minister.
That's why for 6 months, that window to act,
know what your plan would be.
That window to act for 6 months was missed by Mr. Trudeau. I wrote him a month ago to act. We've been asking for several years to try and get people that were at risk because of their help for Canada. And as Prime Minister, I will act.
Aaron O'Toole's campaign has highlighted his experience as a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, but he refused to answer if he would have asked Canadian forces to stay beyond the American withdrawal deadline or asked Canadian soldiers to go outside Kabul airport to rescue stranded Afghanis and Canadians.
This is a very difficult day, not just for Afghans, but for people around the world, including in Canada, who have long been deeply committed to the Afghan people and a better future for Afghanistan.
If the Conservative leader's remarks were disappointing, the Liberal Party leaders were even more so. Speaking in Quebec City, Justin Trudeau refused to acknowledge that the Canadian government or politicians held any responsibility for people left behind. People that include not just Afghani citizens who worked for coalition forces, but Canadian citizens and permanent residents.
We will continue to work with partners, with allies, with regional partners to make sure we're continuing to do everything we can.
It was a failure. It's coming out more and more with veterans who've said they've raised concerns that the evacuation process should have happened earlier. They made lots of they've raised the concerns and said that this should have started earlier, that there should have been an easier process.
The NDP's Jagmeet Singh highlighted the work Canadian Forces veterans have done to bring attention to this issue, but couldn't explain why his party didn't support those actions through legislative work. Green Party leader Annamie Paul is calling on all federal parties to suspend their campaigns for 24 hours to rescue those left behind.
I think that it is very important that we make no mistake that this was foreseeable, this was avoidable, and it is a national shame that we have ended our evacuations knowing that we have left thousands and thousands of people behind that could have been rescued, that could have been evacuated if we had responded in a timely way.
In Ottawa, Xiaoli Li, City News.